Welcome back, everyone. Now today we're just going to be doing a quick video to share an update on my ley line research. Lelanders ley lines once again. Now we had a guest on the show talking about ley lines and we brought up the Titanic topic. So some people are probably interested to get a full update on what all this means. So if anyone hasn't seen it, I'll just show it quick on the screen. Got the image here. This is the giant ley line that stretches across the entire globe that some people call, what is it, St. Michael's Arch, or there's a bunch of different names for it. Basically, ancient researchers realized that there was a line connecting multiple ancient places, sort of like cathedrals and ancient sites. So we're just going to cover them quick here, and yeah, here's what the line looks like. And we talked to the researcher last episode, and he thinks the line is actually 25 kilometers wide. So maybe he means 25 on either side of the line, but we'll have to do a quick look at that as well at some point. But yeah, we're going to try to narrow down exactly how wide the line is. I've got another estimate on how wide it is too, so we'll look at it today. So we'll try not to make this episode too long. Finishing quick is my specialty. Alright, so anyways, let's go to where this line begins. And I was just watching a video on sacrifice. Shout out to the guys who have videos about it on YouTube. They're having the same issues where you can't do videos about the ancient topic of sacrifice without getting it demonetized or removed off YouTube. So we'll try not to make this too graphic. Not that I'd want to either way. But anyways, Tenochtitlan, Mexico City. This is the place where they had the giant pyramids and they were collecting the skulls, the ultimate sacrifice location. And the reason they picked it was because the god of war instructed them this was the location that they had to build the city and do the sacrifices. So yeah, that's a pretty horrific start to the video. Let's continue. We'll try not to make it too graphic. Alright, so what did we cover? New Orleans, that's a place. Mobile, Alabama, where they get all the bad flooding. Some people say that the levees aren't repaired because of laziness, other because it's like a sacrifice. Let's hope not. Alabama, Atlanta. No, we do get up into the stuff from September 11th that I don't think we're allowed to talk about too much either. So for there, that's where we get into the September 11th place, the Boston Airport, the Pentagon, all three of them landing on the line. Oh yeah, and then the line also makes up 1/2 or 1/3 of the Bermuda Triangle. So it's interesting that the line is part of that, the God of War sacrifice line, the Bermuda Triangle. Oh yeah, and where the Titanic sank. Someone was showing the Titanic sinking location. I think it was somewhere along the line around here. If anyone wants to clarify where, can't remember. But somewhere, yeah, somewhere near enough to the line that it actually was part of it. The other ones for New York is Miss, was it USA? Or, anyways, yeah, sadly she died in a very arguably sacrifice-style ritual from the Orion building. We did a whole episode on that if anyone wants to check the archive. Sadly enough, that was a horrific event. So, yeah, but isn't all the sacrifice events on this line pretty devastating? So we'll continue on, and we'll get back to a little bit more of the scientific reasons behind this line shortly. So once we get through here, we end up on directly over Stonehenge, the border of Paris, arguably the most fought in border in the side of Europe there. I'd have to look at the history of how many battles occurred on the border of Belgium, Luxembourg, and France. But I would not be surprised if this was like a bloodbath line. Oh yeah, and then you come by where Hitler was born, the Croatian-Bosnian wars and all that stuff. Serbia, Bulgaria's borders with Macedonia. You always hear about the Bulgarian-Macedonian conflict, but I guess arguably. And then you get into Istanbul, all the battles there. Cyprus, this is where we really start to get wild. We're into the Mount Olympus, the home of the gods. Then we get into Mount Hermon, where the gods descended to the earth, birthplace of Jesus. Then we continue on even further up, and we get into the Peninsula of the Wars in Saudi Arabia, where we got the birthplace of Muhammad, the Mecca Cube. And then we get to the borders of Yemen, the Yemen Wars. So it's pretty wild to see, but it doesn't end there. Can you guess what this is going to continue? This is where we get into the scientific data I just discovered, so this will be the first video on it. I don't know if anyone's noticed this with St. Michael's Arch before. So let's cover what it is. You turn on the plate boundaries. This is a file from the government. So we can see here that the plate boundary, remember I was saying that it seemed to be interestingly dividing where the rivers came out of the land? I forgot, rivers, plate boundaries. So yeah, the plate happens to be the St. Michael's Arch is also going with the main crack of the earth. So let's follow it. So it goes through there, and it's basically the line. You can see how wide this energy line is. Now that we got the actual crack in the earth showing, you can even see some of the lines on both sides. So there's the major crack of the earth. Oh yeah, and look what this crack is. This is the crack that divided the South Pole in half. Remember all the videos I did how the South Pole was actually one giant? Let's see if we can bring it up again. Yeah, so this video clearly demonstrates, I tried to, how if you squeeze the South Pole together, it's like the yin-yang. And in the past, and when it broke is what caused the change in our North Pole, I believe. Don't know for sure, but it's my best guess so far. Here we go. There's a better look at it. So yeah, if anyone's wondering where this crack was and what kind of energy it had when it split our South Pole, it's the God of War line of sacrifice. Isn't that crazy? I should have guessed that it would have been that line. I don't know. But thanks to the last guest on the show, really got my mind going about I need to find more information. So anyways, you continually follow this crack or split across the earth, and it comes right back to where it started in Mexico. It basically diverts right to it, right? So now some people might argue, how come the crack doesn't split this way? Well, you can see it does divide the continent quite a bit. Arguably, you could say this is it here. It just bent a little out. Oh yeah, and then when it comes through here, I forgot to show the crack. This is literally the crack that splits this continent in half. You know, if you zoom way out and you look at this as one solid landmass, what splits it in half but this giant crack here? So that's where you got the God of War energy line. Isn't that amazing? I don't know, to me, I should have guessed it all along, because I was thinking there's always some sort of not only like paranormal or legends associated to something, but it also usually associates to some actual physical evidence. So I should have guessed it was the giant crack that splits our Earth in half. Now some people are going to say, oh, you could just look at the Earth on any direction and see some sort of crack pattern, but we'll have to look more into that idea and see if maybe the skeptics are right. Because, yeah, that's a pretty good crack that way. So, yeah, if the skeptics wanted to say there was another crack that I missed. I don't know. The only reason I give this one more credibility is because it actually splits the South Pole. Where if you wanted to argue other ones, maybe that is one. Because I don't think officially in science, is there really a half-split crack where our Earth literally has a crack right down the center? Let's hope not. Makes me kind of paranoid that it could split further apart, right? Yeah, so that's my latest discovery about the St. Michael's line or arch. I should have had the Wikipedia site ready for that, but let's see if I can bring it up. St. Michael's Axis, that's what it's called. All right, if anyone wants to see more information, this is what got me thinking about it too, is when we had the last guest and he was talking about how he stayed at a monastery or worked at one. And how about the St. Michael's line? Let's see, we got to make it a little bit smaller. Anyway, St. Michael's line is a line connecting monasteries dedicated to the Archangel Michael in Europe. And then people started to realize that it was a line that looked similar to this. And if you keep an eye on that one, see how it's starting at roughly around the Stonehenge area and going through and ending up in the Holy Land. Let's check that out. See how it goes through, ends up in the Holy Land. See if we can bring that back and overlay it. I guess I should put it the other way so it matches. Sorry, it's early in the morning. People are probably laughing I didn't get it closer. Haven't had my coffee or breakfast yet. I don't even drink coffee. Alright. There we go. That looks a little better. Anyways, if anyone's good at making graphics and they want an idea of a cool ley line to show a graphic of, I guess it's kind of graphic that it's also the spots of the September 11th attack, so just be careful when you're publishing the information about it. You could risk your channel probably even talking about it. Yeah, and the Titanic sank. I should have realized the Titanic sank on this freaking line too. It makes me wonder about buying property. I almost want to avoid buying anything on this line, not to try to destroy the real estate there. But that's also where Mike Tyson said that he started to get interactions with the God of War. So it's interesting it happened to him. And he was on his podcast actually asking, what was the cause? Why does the God of War influencing so many people in his area? He couldn't put his finger on it. Because everyone is saying, oh, it's bad gangs in New York. But he's like, no, but there's bad gangs everywhere in big cities like Detroit or wherever else you could go to big cities, Chicago. But he's like, something was weird about where he was in New York, in the Brownsville area. So he's like, it's something like the God of War is here. He was trying to tell people. So I don't know, not to try to verify Mike Tyson's theory, but if he wanted to evidence of why the God of War picked that line, it's the freaking giant crack that split the entire globe. Right through our South Pole even. Alright, so we'll wrap this up. Thanks everyone. See you later. Bye for now. Don't forget to sub and like. Really appreciate it. Take care. Bye for now.